Hello and welcome back to the ministry. This is Taj McCameron, and today I have a word for you guys. Um, it's not really a word; it's an observation. Um, it's for my kingdom marriage folks. A lot of us have been in that headspace of I'm praying for my spouse, I'm praying for this, that, and the other. I'm praying. And you've been wondering, what's going on? Why is this, that? And what's this? Why is this taking so long? Now, we've gone through the movie reviews, we've gone through the this reviews, we've gone through all of this. You've seen, you've gained understanding, you know what I'm talking about, right? But I'm coming before you today to do an observation. The Lord has kind of pulled me into a level of wisdom, I'll say, where He's shown me some things in relation to my God ordained spouse through the lens of somebody else. Okay? The problem is, some of you have probably seen the same thing, but you were ignoring it because it wasn't your spouse. Okay? And this is what I'm being brought on here to bring about revelation to. Okay? Someone near you, more than likely a man, has probably been going through a level of warfare. Whether it be sickness, whether it be whatever it is. They've been going through consistency of levels of things in their life falling apart, things that they've been dealing with. And because you're close to them, what do? You're a prayer warrior. You gonna pray, right? You pray. You like, okay, I'm praying for this. Boom. I'm gonna leave that alone. But they're still going through it. And you're like, God, what's going on? And the first thing that we think is, oh, they under spiritual attack. Let me start praying warfare prayer against the spiritual attack that they're under. Because recently, a mentor of mine did a video talking about some of the people that you know have been going through such and such experiences. And you're like, okay. And she did that maybe last month in December. And you kind of take that with a grain of salt because you're like, okay, I got the revelation. Let me start praying against this thing. Boom. Great. And you start praying against it, but this person's still going through their experience. So the bigger question is, was that spiritual warfare? Was that God dealing with that person? A lot of us have been praying for our God ordained spouses. Yes. But we don't know what they're going through. Some of us have even probably asked, God, what are they going through? What is this? And God is probably showing you through somebody close by you what they're going through. But like I said, you're too busy thinking about your spouse to understand God's giving you a window to what that person's going through somebody near you. Is just because of the fact that whether you can see them, whether you have access to them, or so on and so forth, you kind of feel like, well, they can't possibly be going through that because I saw them post XYZ on their Instagram, so they look like they have everything going good on their life. Is it? Is it? Is it? Do you know? Maybe the male person that's near you that you see them dealing with X, Y, and Z experience. is God's way of tapping you to say, the reason you ain't over there with your God ordained spouse is because your God ordained spouse is going through a similar experience to what this person is going through that's sitting right next to you. And if you were there, yeah, you probably could ease the pain in which they're going through. Because remember, God has been telling us, has he not, that God's been taking them through a level of trials and tribulations in order to strip them, prep them, prepare them. What did you think that you was doing? Why do you think you was going through so much? But your testing's over. You've come out of your testing. Now you're seeing it happen to other people. Or maybe the haze that was over your eyes because you were going through so much you couldn't see. That God was showing you a reflection from somebody nearby you. Exactly what your God ordained spouse was going through. It may not be the exact thing that said person you got near you is going through, but think about the type of warfare that that person's going through. Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, socially, financially. Dealing with the things they see, going all crazy. The spirit of Leviathan messing with the things that they hear. Tempting the things that they taste, smell. Creating desires for things that are not good for them. Having them put their hands to things because an idle person's hands are the devil's playground. In order to get them to make a what? Long-term decision in a short period of time. And you've been praying maybe for this person, but you ain't been praying for that person. And maybe you have been praying for that person, but it ain't changed yet. And you frustrated because you're like, I'm praying for this person and they stuff ain't changing. Maybe, just maybe, God's allowing the stuff to not change in that person's life to reflect whatever it is that's going on in your God ordained spouse's life that they haven't changed. Because I listened to a word from this new person, Tea Time with Jesus by Ari. Her words been popping up in front of me, but I kind of been in this disgruntled mode. I don't see nobody else's words, and they were extremely long. And I'm like, I don't listen to this person. Until finally, this one particular word kept popping up every single day. Every single day. Every single day. I was like, God, you want me to look at this, don't you? So, I looked at it. And this person kind of made a point. I was watching one of her videos last night, and in it, she made a point of saying, the reason that you don't have communication with your God ordained spouse is because you're not hearing them correctly. They talking, but you're not listening. And you know something? I can say this. I had a dream. God, I don't know what that was, 3-4 months ago. I was on my tablet. In the dream, my God ordained spouse contacted me in the dream. And when he did, my heart was so emotionally tender to the fact that he even reached out. I wasn't even listening to anything he was saying. And the only thing I can recall was one line. And I'm like, even with the one line, I was more worried about what my perspective on how come he didn't ask me this and not what he actually said. I need y'all to focus, okay? I believe this is the case with a lot of us right now. God has been talking to you. God has been dealing with them. They are working. They are preparing. But because of the fact that the way God is dealing with them in this season, and they still got to deal with themselves, whether they're in a level of isolation with God, and he's trying to strip some things while also giving them instructions to prepare for some things, the communication is off right now because they're going through. I like to hear what Lady Michelle always says, the only way out is through. Okay? This particular person that's near me at this particular point in time, they're going through an experience. Okay? And everything in me desires for them to stop going through the experience that they're going through, even though it's not really directly affecting me, but it's giving me anxiety to be around it. Just be honest. It says in the word that we should be anxious for nothing, but in everything, through prayer and supplication, give it back unto God. I do. I just don't like, because the spirit I have in my body, if I'm around a person that's anxious, frustrated, irritated, irritable, what have you, it pulls on me, okay? And it may not be that I'm so anxious, it's the fact that their anxiety is messing with my peace because it's too close to me. You understand what I'm saying? Even if it's they just sit next to me. You ever been sitting next to somebody and felt the anxiety coming off of them? That's what I'm talking about. And for my peace, I desire for them to get out of their anxiety so that my peace can return back to stasis. Because their anxiety makes me feel like, okay, let me help you figure out what your problem is so that I can get back to the peace of mind that I was experiencing prior to you going through your anxiety. Because it's getting on my nerves. But I think we need to go through it. Why? Why do we need to go through that level of being around a person that's going through stress or anxiety that we can't fix their problem? All of us are sitting here praying for a God-ordained spouse. What happened when that person sitting next to you is your spouse and you can't help them? Because God's sitting there telling you, I know they're going through something. All I'm asking you to do is pray there and be there for them. But they're going to go through what they're going to go through. But see, the difference is because it's your spouse, there's going to be a different level of pain you're going to feel. It's going to be a different level of emotional things because you're already feeling it because because you're spiritually connected to your God ordained spouse, you're already feeling it. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you exactly how I know that you're already feeling it. Some of y'all been going through anxiety. Some of y'all been going through depression. Some of y'all been wondering, why do I feel X, Y, and Z? Because your spouse was going through it. And you may have been at peace. Shoot, the person that you, or the people that you're around may be at peace. And you're wondering why I ain't frustrated right now. Because you got your spouse was frustrated. Or you go into a mode where you're feeling extremely lovey-dovey and you're like, why am I feeling lovey-dovey? Ain't no reason for me to be feeling it. I'm supposed to be focusing on X, Y, Z that's in front of me. And now I'm feeling all this love feelings. And then it's like, oh, spouse is sending you love. But some of y'all been rejecting it. Tell the truth or shame the devil. Because to feel the love that they were feeling towards you actually would completely mess you up in the moment that you need to focus. Getting back to the person nearby. The person nearby has probably been reflecting almost a parallel of what your God ordained spouse is going through. It just might not look like it. But when you're more merciful to the fact of what that person that is nearby you is going through, and you come to the understanding, wait, this person is experiencing something that either the Lord is taking them through or he's allowing to happen to them for some specific reason. Maybe God's trying to cut certain things off. Maybe God's trying to deal with their heart in a way that he couldn't deal with it with the distraction of them not having X, Y, and Z. Maybe he's putting a level of pressure upon that person. I remember I was listening to Nina, and Nina said, was it even Nina? Or Alita. And they were saying that God is going to put you in a place where you don't have to see it. But what if you have been seeing what your God ordained spouse has been going through somebody else? But because you are not as emotionally connected to that person as you would be to your spouse, and this is the reason God hasn't let you near your spouse right now, is because of the things that he's pruning out of your spouse. Yeah, you might be nearby somebody, a father, an uncle, a family member, a cousin, a this, a that, a friend, an ex, or whatever. Whoever that is in relation to you. And you're seeing them walk through these experiences, and it's hurting you. But it's not hurting you to the level that it would be if it was that husband of yours. You can clearly think to pray for this person that's nearby you. God's still going to do what he's going to do in order to deal with that person. But think about the flip. What if it was your God ordained spouse? God sat me down somewhere between 6 and 7 years ago. And he gave me a vision of my God ordained spouse. And in that vision, he gave me of my God ordained spouse. He just showed me my God ordained spouse. It was like my God ordained spouse sitting in, there was no background environment. It was nothing. It was just him. And I was looking at him. And I looked at his face. And he looked like he was in distress. Okay? And the Lord showed me. He asked me a question. He said, can you love him like this? A lot of us, we sit up there and we be all cutesy and we sit up there like, yes, of course I can love him like this. Because you're sitting there like, yeah, I can love him like this. I'm going to hug him and I'm going to be all nice and I'm going to be like, baby, it's going to be okay and blah, 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 blah. That's what you say. But let's say you have a friend, uncle, father, whatever the person is, that they're going through it. You see they're going through it. Now, the blessing is you're removed from it due to the fact that, okay, I love you, cousin, father, uncle, what have you. But you can still see the stress on their face. You can still feel the anxiety that's in their body. You still feel the frustration that they're dealing with. You still feel, and then the way that they process the information, because they can't see the way out, because they're anxious and they like what do you call it? A kid jumping off the wall because they can't figure out the issue, and you're sitting there peacefully, and them acting like all disorderly and confused, and you're sitting there and you're like, why won't you calm down? And this is the family member, so you're removed from the scenario, but you're witnessing it. It brings anxiety to you to a degree. It does. It brings anxiety to you to a degree. Because you're watching it play out before you. You ever hear people say, especially Christian people, they say that the Lord may not allow you to see what your God ordained spouse is going through because of the fact that of how it's going to affect you. I witnessed somebody that I was associated with some years ago. They were in a relationship, and the person that they were with was going through something. And the person that they were with, because they were going through something, kept pushing them away. And they didn't know how to deal with it because they were trying to be help to the situation. But it actually, their assistance was causing more trouble. And somebody did a video called that, I don't know who it was, your interference when God's trying to deal with this person can actually be more detrimental. What God needs for you to sit still and let him do what he's doing to that person. Because you trying to assist them can actually look like, I told you so. A lot of people say, I told you so, but what if you took the so off the end for a moment? I told you. See, a lot of us females, especially if you have any level of discernment, mental ability to break a situation down, strategic approach on how to deal with the situation, you will dissect and decipher the whole situation down, right down to a T. I know I tried to do it a couple times. I came to the realization when I was just trying to assist the scenario. My help was not going to help this particular person because I wasn't meant to help them, because God was trying to do a work in them. Because we will say, I told you. Because think about it. We're Christians. We're going to give every scripture. We're going to lay down every line. We're going to do all this kind of stuff. I'm going to try to get you in a positive mode. And the way that they process things may not be the way that you're needed to communicate. I remember listening to Esther's Way. She did a video on depression, and she was making the point of saying a lot of us want to assist the person when sometimes all they want to know is, are you here? Do you acknowledge that I am actually going through this problem? I remember I told you about the book, The Five Love Languages. There was a couple in the Five Love Languages that the wife was going through something, but the husband was a strategic solutionist. So he would always, the wife would tell him what she was going through, and the husband would automatically give her a solution. The husband would be getting frustrated because he's watching her go through the experience and not understanding, I just told you the solution to that problem. Do the solution. Your problem will go away. And she stopped. She was not paying attention to his solution. And he's getting more and more frustrated. And he's like, I'm tired of you asking me for the same situation that I already done gave you a solution for. And the problem that the therapist brought in was the fact that it's not that she's looking for an answer to her problem. She's looking for the emotional support, for the understanding that I am going through something. Do you recognize that? And a lot of you that are waiting on your God ordained spouse cannot recognize that. Spiritually, right now, until the Lord sends this man, you need to be their spiritual, emotional support. Because right now they're going through an experience. And they need to know you got them. If they can't understand it. Okay? That is what you need to do. You need to be their emotional support. Now, in my current situation with what I am dealing with the person that I am around, because it's hard for that particular person to express emotions anyway, if you try to help them, even if you're doing everything you know to do, they have a very brash way of responding to you. You can only do what you can for the person if they ask your help. When this particular person asks me for help, I help them to the level at which they desire. But they're desiring help through frustration. But God is showing you something in that moment. When your God ordained spouse is going through something, when he needs you, he will come to you for assistance. Not before. And even in the midst of you giving them the assistance, it may not be the immediate solution for the problem. That may not fix it. What do you do? Back to the dream that I had. What do you do when your God ordained spouse is going through something? Be what they need. If it ain't nothing but to sit there with them while they go through it. And a lot of y'all want to scream out and say, but I'm not there with them. You are in spirit. Some of y'all need to repent for begging to be over there right now. Because what they're going through on the level they are on, because everybody's going through a little something right now. Okay? But depending on what level of impact the person that you're called to marry is in, their warfare is going to match the level that they're on, while they are also preparing to walk into what they're going to be walking into with you. And it's a lot for them to process at the same time. They're getting things in order, they're preparing, but they're also going through a level of things. Because you notice you're under oppressed too. You're dealing with a level of pressure too. You think that they're not? You think that they're not? Oh, but they don't bring the, I saw him on social media smiling the other day. Don't you dare. Some of your spouses, especially if they have a level of influence to whatever capacity, I told you, community leader, arts, entertainment, fashion, social media influence, whatever their influence is. Maybe they are a celebrity, whatever it is. They can be on social media. Of course they're going to smile on social media. They could be literally crying 5 minutes later. I was watching a video the other day. It said, go check on your strong friends. What if your husband's the strong friend? Huh? Because they're the nice, kind, you know, because everybody does it to you. So they got to be the one that smiles every time they walk in the room, whether they are feeling frustrated and stressed out, exhausted, tired, or what have you, because they got to walk in the room and smile. Check on your strong friends. Pray for your strong friends. Send them a message. Be positive towards them. To ask them to go out to dinner and let them talk. Give them the encouragement for a change. Pray for them. Because some of them are just holding it together. And then when you see them blowing up and having frustrated moments and they can't deal with certain things, pray for them. Stand in the gap. Because God is doing a work within them. All it is a preparation to deal with and shift whatever it is that they need to be dealt with. This particular person, God showed me that the particular person that I'm standing in the gap for right now, that's a family member. God showed me that